Well, thank you all for choosing me to wake you up this morning. I will try. Recently diagnosed with ADHD and I have a Monster Energy drink, so I'm going to try to at least wake you up. Before we get started, show of hands, who here has Yelp on their phone? Wonderful. This is what I love to see. Who here knows what Yelp is? Okay, there we go. So we at least know that. We're on a name basis. Okay, so a little bit of history about what I do. So my job is, as a community manager, I go around Buffalo. I team up with local businesses to promote their business essentially against the larger chains. So I'm the champion of mom and pop restaurants and little startups and things like that that people kind of disregard and go, subscribe or do something for a larger company. So essentially my job is I go into these mom and pops and I say, hey, I want to get more people in your door. I want you to be open within the next year. I don't want to see you close your doors in a year because you couldn't get enough business or things are terrible in the economy and you just couldn't make it. So how can I help with that? And basically one of the big things that I talk about with them is local collaboration between myself and them, and then company to company, business to business, whatever kind of mode you're thinking, that's kind of where it is. Anybody own their own business in here? Okay, perfect. So we've got two. So this will be great. So basically, we're turning local collaboration into community brands. Quick off the top of your head, what's your favorite restaurant or coffee shop or things that you've gone to lately?
Toasted.
Toasted, okay.
I was gonna say the Grange.
The Grange,
Yeah.
very popular.
There is a business in my neighborhood, the La Verdad Cafe.
La Verdad Cafe. I love Miss Vivian, she's amazing.
Can I skip for now? I gotta.
Absolutely, you think about it.
Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons. I'm gonna change that before the end of this thing. I love me some Timmy Ho's, but I do not love it more than a lot of the other local shops here.
Sure.
Oh, my favorite restaurant just closed.
Oh, which one was
It
it?
was Winfield's Pub.
Winfield's Pub. Some of the best wings I've ever had.
Some of the
Winfield's
best
Pub.
everything.
Absolutely, Winfield's, and
It's
it's
heartbreaking.
one of those things. It's all these places in the community just like that everybody loves, but sadly
Can't
has to
make it.
close the doors.
Yeah.
Economy, whatever it may be.
Howling Rooster or the Family Tree?
Family Tree, okay. I've been to Howling Rooster. I haven't been to Family Tree yet.
Coffee shop in Webster Street, NT. I couldn't tell you the name, but it's very tasty and good vibes. So
Webster Street. Is it the stone?
it replaced the spot. That's why I mentally I'm just like, it's something
Right.
right now, but it's still coffee.
Right, it's still coffee, so that's good. So we're talking a little bit more about what we're doing in the community. So all those favorite restaurants that you have, I'm assuming you didn't go because you saw an ad somewhere that was like, hey, come to this restaurant. It was more of a, hey, I'm in the mood for blank. So what can I find? A lot of people use Google. Not gonna say that they don't. Everybody goes to Yelp on their phones because, as we established already, not a lot of people have Yelp on their phones right now. But you're Googling places. You're saying, where's the best wings? Where's the best coffee? Where's the best avocado toast? And that's where you're kind of like thinking, okay, cool. So I'm gonna go check this place out. The reason it's your favorite probably isn't because you saw a Facebook ad or an Instagram story that said, oh my God, you're gonna love this food. It was probably the experience that you had there. And that's what people are going for. They're going for the experience. They're not really going because, I saw an ad, so I'm gonna go in here, talk to no one, eat my food and leave. Because if you do that, it's kind of a little sad, but it's also a little bit like you're not getting that full experience. You're not really diving into that business. So businesses that are winning right now aren't just selling products, they're creating that belonging feeling. It's, hey, welcome in. We're glad to see you. Even if it's your first time here, if that hostess there or the person behind the counter checks you in and they're saying, hey, good morning, how are you? It automatically brings up those endorphins in you and it's saying, oh, wow, okay, cool. Like, friendly experience so far. Now, sometimes you don't get the friendliest server, sometimes you do. But it's all about that experience and kind of how it is. Again, we're going people trust recommendations over ads. So the Grange, I don't know how many people have told me personally, oh, I love the Grange. Like, they have the best pastries in the morning, their breakfast is phenomenal. I'm sure you didn't go to the Grange because an ad, somebody probably told you about the Grange. Correct. So same thing with a lot of you is you probably didn't go. I mean, La Verdad, that is not a big place that people know about unless it's a word of mouth thing.
Right, and
So-
and living right near it.
And proximity.
Yeah.
Proximity is huge. If you're close, people are creatures of habit. So I know I lived at my old house. I was right by my favorite pizza place. I was right by my favorite grocery store. So it was like perfect. I'm gonna keep going to those. Which at Yelp isn't great when you have to write reviews so often. And I'm writing the same reviews for the same place over and over and over. You know, branch out a little bit, but that's where you get the word of mouth. That's where you get all that fun stuff. And experiences drive that emotional connection. So if you have a really great time at La Verdad or the Grange or Toasted, you think to yourself, wow, okay, I'm definitely coming back here and I'm bringing this person, this person, this person. It's never, oh, this was great, I can't wait to never come back again, you know? If you have a good experience somewhere, you're gonna go back. And that's kind of what people want, is that sense of belonging. You see it with bars and breweries now, that they have these mug clubs where you literally buy a mug and they hang it up on the wall and you come in and say, hey, I'm number 72. And you get your mug and you come down and you say, great. It's like Cheers, you're walking in, everybody knows your name. Maybe everybody knows your number. Again, nobody's gonna remember the ad. They're gonna remember the experience. When you go in and you sit down at the bar or you sit down at the restaurant and the server comes over to you, you know, that's that first impression, that's that first experience. I always say going to a restaurant the first time is like dating. If you have a really, really good experience, you're gonna be like, I can't wait to keep this relationship going. This is great. Let's go on a second date. Maybe I'll bring some friends. Weird. But if it goes really badly, you're breaking up right there. It's not a good first date. You're saying, hey, maybe, you know what, we're gonna try to see other restaurants. But people come for the product, but they stay because of that connection. They stay because of the emotional, hey, this was great, the food was good. Sometimes the food can even be mediocre, but if you have a really, really great connection and a really great experience there, it could be a server, it could be whatever, you might think, you know what, food, it's whatever. But I love the views, you know, if you get a nice skyline in there and you're like, you know what, I'm not really thinking about, you know, how great the food was, but I'm thinking about how great the atmosphere was, and I felt like it was great. Increased visibility and attractiveness of the company. So by creating that emotional connection, not only are you sitting here thinking, wow, this was a great experience, I can't wait to come back, but you're also spreading that to your friends and family. So you're saying, hey, we had a really great time at blank. Can't wait to take you there. What are you doing on Saturday? So it's building that customer base, because again, I have always thought to myself, everything in life is really a pyramid scheme. Because if I like something, I'm gonna tell somebody. They're gonna tell somebody. They're gonna tell somebody. That word of mouth, giant pyramid scheme. Except, hopefully it's not a scheme. I don't like the word scheme, but you know, that is what it is. But local collaboration is way more than just hitting collab on Instagram. It is kind of intertwining yourself with another business. So, you own a business? What's your business?
Payroll.
Payroll. Okay, so you're intertwined with a lot of businesses because you have to be. To be honest, I didn't really. That's a perfect example. You're intertwined. I can't really go any farther than that. They need you, and you need them.
Right.
It's a perfect symbiotic relationship. Who else owned a business? Somebody else had a rate.
Yeah, I own an editorial company.
An editorial company?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, kind of talk me through how you work with other businesses.
I partner with a lot of marketing companies.
Okay.
And proofread their stuff and make sure it's all clean and wonderful before we ship it out.
Absolutely. So with that, they need companies to work with for the marketing firm. You get those in general, and then again intertwining. So a little bit out of the realm of what I usually do, but like if let's say that marketing company has to work with a business, it's not going to be just, hey, we're working with a brand new marketing company. They don't really kind of advertise that because the regular consumer isn't really going to care what marketing company you're working with. They are going to care if your toast is burnt or if your barbecue tastes horrible. So I guess with that, it's how are we kind of combining that local collaboration in other ways rather than just Instagram? Vendor partnerships. do you go out to business fairs and things like that for payroll and table and things like that to kind of get new businesses into your business?
Yeah, we drilled down on the beauty industry, the lodging and hospitality industries.
Beauty, lodging, hospitality.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we go to beauty shows a lot.
Absolutely. Because again, a lot of those things, especially, you know, beauty salons, things like that, always looking for easy ways to kind of manage their books and things like that, because a lot of it is, you know, cash or tips or things like that. So awesome, cool, great to hear. Co-branded experiences are a big thing too. So I'm going to take your two examples because they kind of work. We're going to go with the Grange and we're going to go Toasted. So let's say the Grange and Toasted, you know, really want to work together. Kind of a similar menu, but not super similar to the point where it's like the exact same thing. So let's say Toasted says, you know, we would love to take the Grange's bread that they make every day, and we're going to use that for our toast. And then the Grange and then Toasted says, you know what, we love this that you use. I don't know, your muffin, great, and we're going to sell the muffins in here for you. So that's a little bit more of the intertwining that, you know, I get to help with there, and that a lot of businesses will do. And then it's really kind of making sure that it's additive on both sides, and it's not just, hey, cool, we have really good bread now. No, it's, hey, we have really good bread because of this company that we're working with. You should check them out too. Let's see. So some of the things that I've done working with local businesses, puppy yoga. Right now, simultaneously, I'm doing this, and I'm starting an event over at the arena, which is a dog adoption event. So crazy day for me, but with that, same thing. So we're doing puppy yoga right on the rink. We have 25 different shelters that are bringing adoptable dogs. And we have all these artisans and craft vendors that are also gonna be there. So we're bringing all of those together to try to say, hey, not only are we bringing awareness to the shelters here are overrun, we need to get some of these dogs adopted, but we're also bringing awareness to the fact that, you know, I've always wanted a bedazzled collar for my dog or cat. So now I've found the place to do that. Coffee shops and bookstores. These are kind of like one of the fun things that I get to do. Book clubs are a huge thing. Probably not as big since COVID. They were really big during COVID, the virtual book clubs. But now we get to go back and have actual book clubs. So finding these coffee shops that are saying, hey, you know, we're open, but we're seeing a lag on this day between this hour and this hour. Cool. All right, let's see what we can do. You got a bookshop 2 blocks down. Let's bring some of them over, and then, hey, let's set up a cookbook night. Let's set up one of these little book clubs or something like that. Trivia nights in restaurants aren't a new thing. It's a very, very popular, very, very common thing, especially in Buffalo. You could basically go to a handful of restaurants on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays, and there's probably at least one of them that's going to be doing trivia. It's a very easy thing, but it combines, you know, people's love of being a know-it-all and good food. Vendor markets and local makers, similar to like what we're doing today with the dog shelters. Open air markets are a huge thing now. You know, you have your farmers markets, you've always had farmers markets, but now it's how do we take it up a notch? How do we kind of make it a bigger thing? Recently I was in Boston, you know, they're bringing in live musicians. They're putting up giant screens so you can watch golf, tennis, whatever the major sporting event is, the World Cup that was just on. You know, all these open markets are becoming bigger and bigger things. We just had one open up here in Buffalo, the Yard at Perry. So that's going to be a really good kind of example of what we can kind of hope to expect. You know, large market, different artisans, different crafts coming in there, but all kind of promoting each other and the space itself. Wellness events, fitness businesses, no brainer. If you have sustainably sourced protein or things like that, and you want to work with a gym, you know, that's a symbiotic relationship there too of, hey, you know what, can you sell our protein at your gym? Great, cool. We're gonna, you know, plug your gym as one of our sponsors for our next thing. Increase social engagement, cooperation, supporting local initiatives. So again, we're talking about our favorite businesses, besides one of us. Most of those were local businesses. We tend to go to places that we feel comfortable at. Yes, Tim Hortons is great, especially on the drive-thru. You know, you're running late, I just need a coffee quick. Hope they don't put too much cream in it this time. Always do. But these local businesses are the places that people tend to flock to a little bit more, especially when you're out and about and you have the time. Now, when you don't have the time or you don't have the knowledge of that place based on proximity or based on the information available to you at the time, yeah, that's when you're going to go to those major chains. But those major chains aren't going to say, hey, we're working with Lloyd this week. I would never think that a Taco Bell is going to say, hey, we're partnering up with Lloyd this week. We're going to have a great little fundraiser. It's not going to happen. But Lloyd could partner up with Breezy Burrito Bar or La Verdad Cafe and say, hey, we're going to do barbecue burritos this weekend. It's all going to be for this local charity. And that's where you kind of get to build that community brand awareness of, you know, I may have never been to Lloyd and I may have never gone to Breezy Burrito Bar. But if the charity is something that I'm passionate about, let's throw out, you know, Pump Pediatric Cancer Collaborative. Great charity, involved with a lot of things in the community, the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, things of that nature. Let's say I'm a big supporter of that. I'm gonna go support that, and now I'm going to learn about the two businesses that are providing all the food for that. And it's just building that campaign awareness and that brand awareness of, hey, I may not know right now what's going on between these two businesses, but at the end of that event, the goal is, hey, I'm either gonna really love both of these businesses, I'm gonna like both of these businesses, or I'm gonna say, hey, not for me, but at least I got to support something well in the community and things like that. So partnering with local organizations not only expands reach and positive impact, but it also strengthens relationship with local stakeholders. Again, kind of like what I just said with Lloyd and Taco Bell. If somebody says, hey, we're partnering up with Taco Bell, cool. I can guarantee you nobody at Taco Bell HQ is gonna say, hey, I know Brandon from Buffalo and we're partnering up with him. They're just gonna be like, sure, yeah, we'll connect you to the right person. But if I work with Lloyd, the guy who owns Lloyd, he's gonna say, yeah, love Brandon, met with him last week, we're gonna partner up on this. So it builds that local connection, that local collaboration to say, hey, I need somebody to help promote this event. Who am I gonna go out to? Am I gonna go to Taco Bell HQ or am I gonna go talk to Brandon? You know, things of that nature. So it's hey, what are we doing in our own communities to lift each other up rather than outsourcing it essentially to bigger corporations to just get the product that we need but not really get the return that we want. Nonprofits are a huge thing. I always say if a business can partner with a nonprofit once or twice a year on whatever it may be, not only is it going to increase your brand awareness and get your name out there even more, it's going to feel really good because you're helping somebody. And I think at the end of the day, that's all we really want to do is help each other. A rising tide raises all ships. So why wouldn't we want to do that in our own communities? We'll just kind of like end with like a little bit of a conversation and things like that. But the businesses that people remember aren't always the biggest business. You know, we mentioned all these local businesses, and you might have not have even heard of half of these local businesses before everybody mentioned it out. But now you're going to think to yourself, oh, I do have to check out the Grange. I've heard really good things just from Brandon for 10 minutes. That's wonderful. But they're the ones that make you feel like you belong. So whether it's creating that sense of community with a mug club at a brewery or a bar, or creating a little bit of a, you know, luxury experience that maybe something you wouldn't think to be a luxurious location. Whatever it may be, creating those experiences and creating that feeling is how you keep a community and then how you build your community and keep growing. Again, my goal for every business that I work with is to make sure that in a year, if I can help them out and keep them going, especially in the tough times that we have now, I feel good. And then it's continually building upon that to say, hey, in a year when I check in, I'm hoping that we're not talking about how great it was, but how great everything's going. And with that, I'm just gonna kind of like, you know, turn off the slides and things like that. Thank you slide, there we go. I've got my info on here if anybody needs it, if anybody knows a local business that they want to promote or want to work with, great. But other than that, I just kind of wanted to have a candid discussion on, you know, local businesses that you guys love, local businesses you work with. I know a lot of people came here today to talk about AI, talk about a lot of things. Yelp is no stranger to AI, so we have been working on our app a little bit with different AI modules and different things that can help with the search experience and, you know, finding the things that you want. But I kind of want to take away from the AI conversation a little bit today, give everybody just a little bit of a break. Levi's gonna have a great conversation about AI later, so go check his out. But I do want to just kind of come back to, you know, good old fashion marketing here and think, hey, how can we, you know, work with our community to kind of, you know, build each other up a little bit. So thank you, and yeah, we'll just chat for a second.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not the. Oh, cool. Didn't record. But yeah, not like a full-fledged. Like nobody has to talk, but I am curious. You said your favorite restaurant is Tim Hortons. What about Tim
I
Hortons?
guess it really isn't.
Okay, there we go. So we're backtracking a little bit, but I am curious. Why did you say Tim Hortons?
Because of the amount of Tim Hortons that are out there, and I tend
Okay.
to like to get coffee fast.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the caveat to that is, do you like fast coffee or do you like really good coffee?
The fast coffee.
The fast coffee.
Sometimes
With proximity,
what
yeah.
I need, yeah.
I hear you. Do I want energy fast or do I want to, you know, build?
Right.
Anybody else? Does anybody work with any local businesses, like daily, monthly, any nonprofits or things like that?
I'm not really with anyone right now. I'm actually going back to school for communications.
Nice.
So I'm trying to kind of get back into the world that I left so long ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I work with people from Preservation Buffalo Niagara.
Yeah.
I'm friends with all of them. Eugene Depps Hall, I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a founding member there.
Okay.
I'm there all the time. I'll be bartending prom right there. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I love my nonprofits and community-driven places like that.
And I mean, from working with a local business, do you guys end up working with other local businesses at all?
At PBN, definitely.
Yeah.
At the Depps Hall, not really. We're kind of,
Isolated?
sometimes we do, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a really great thing, especially if you can, you know, I mean, as a bartender, you know, if you have the space, you know, trivia is easy. You know, working with a trivia company or bringing in a boozy book club and saying, hey guys, on Tuesday nights from, you know, 6 to 8, we're gonna do boozy book club. So that way it's like happy hour times, but it's like before everything gets a little bit crazy and things like that, or on the slower nights.
Yeah,
Things
yeah.
like
I don't
that.
know, it's not so much other businesses, but other maybe nonprofit organizations.
Yeah.
Strong Towns Buffalo, I do a lot with them too, and everyone, it's a big circle of people that have just come together and we all just work together.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else work with businesses? Where's everybody, like tech?
To an extent, we work in childcare.
Childcare, perfect, okay.
Yes. So we work for Doodlebugs. I don't know if anyone's
Yeah.
heard of it. So for example, like we offer Taekwondo classes,
Right.
and so we have locations in Buffalo, Rochester, but also Pittsburgh and Florida. So we find local Taekwondo studios and we
Right.
partner with them and bring the instructors in.
Huge.
We're always looking for ways to, I think, get out in the community more.
Yeah,
But that's just one example of kind of how we partner.
yeah, absolutely. As a father of a 3.5-year-old with a lot of energy, would
Yeah.
love to sign him up for a Taekwondo class, let me tell you. I fear the results that would happen with a 3.5-year-old learning Taekwondo, but no, that's a really good prime example because you're working with the businesses around your locations
Yeah.
to say, who can we source to come in here and fulfill a need for us? And then on the flip side of that, whatever those Taekwondo professors, wherever they are, they're thinking to themselves, wait, we just signed with Doodlebugs. We're great. Now we can tell people when they come into our studio off the street, oh, we also do classes for Doodlebugs if you have smaller children or if you have children who go to Doodlebugs and things
Yeah.
like that. So that's a prime example of you guys supporting each other, but then also having that kind of opportunity to really kind of like get out in the community a little bit for you too, especially if, because the Doodlebugs started up here and then it branched down.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I remember Doodlebugs from like 10 years ago. One of my former mentors went and started working there. So I was like, I don't think she moved to Florida. But yeah, especially when you're moving into new communities and you're trying to establish yourself as a brand, that not only gets your name out there, but then also gives you an opportunity to say, hey, we're going to do a bigger Taekwondo class, or we're going to have Taekwondo and we're going to have karate, and we're gonna have a fitness sampler, maybe a self-defense class for kids or things like that, and you could do it all in like a big thing type of event type of thing. So that's really cool though. I'm gonna definitely check into Doodlebugs now. Maybe for just like the class. We'll see how one goes. If he comes home and he beats me up, I'm gonna be like, all right, buddy, more than usual. Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Is like, I mean, and that's the thing too. So when we polled everybody, not a lot of people, and I'm gonna say this because it's on camera. Not a lot of people had Yelp on their phone. There were some, but can't really do that on camera. That just takes away everything. But yeah, I think, you know, primarily when you're searching for something, everybody's going to use Google, right? And I think that's what a lot of people do. I do that sometimes as well. If I'm looking to try to find a restaurant, maybe I go to Yelp first. The nice thing about Yelp, and we'll kind of touch on the AI aspect of it a little bit, is, you know, they've come up with tools on the app and tools on their website of, you know, if you need a window fixed, or if you need a Taekwondo instructor, or if you need a different service or a garage or things like that. That's when you can go on Yelp and it'll actually AI send all of your information that you're putting out there. Hey, I need someone to come fix my lawn for 2 hours on this Saturday. Can somebody come do that for me? And it sends it to all the contractors that they have on their database, and it'll send out your request. And it keeps it private enough where they're not calling and texting you immediately, but you can actually sort through those and say, okay, well, this person has 5 stars. Let me contact them, or let me answer their call. But it connects you with the people automatically, so you're not just sitting here thinking, oh, well, I'm just gonna have to cold call somebody with all this thing. You're actually not doing any of the work cold calling. Yelp is doing the cold calling for you, and then you're just kind of reaping the benefit of, hey, who's the best person in this list that I, you know, want to trust based on the reviews that I can see. And that's kind of like the cool thing about that. But again, when you're looking up how to get somewhere, people are typically putting it into Maps or to Google. And same thing with a lot of like businesses and things like that. You're going to Google first, and then you're seeing the Yelp page. If it's on a browser, you're saying, hey, cool, we're gonna go down, we're gonna check the Yelp reviews here quick before, you know, we decide to go to this restaurant. Because if you check the Yelp page and there's a lot of bad reviews, you're gonna be like, you know, maybe not this one. Maybe we'll go to Tim Hortons instead. No, I think that's kind of like the avenue that a lot of people have. And I would encourage you as a Yelp employee to, you know, download Yelp, because I think it is helpful and it is useful, especially, you know, in that proximity question of, hey, I just got to this place, I'm traveling for work, I don't know what's around me. I could Google, but Google's going to give you everything around you. If you say, hey, I'm just in the mood for a burger, I'm in the mood for you know, a pita or things like that, it's going to tailor that around it for you, so you're not sitting here going, oh, I wonder if this is good. It's going to have all your results right there for you. So any other kind of collaboration pieces or anything? I mean, I guess, I don't know if I need to record this part, but like, why did you guys pick this over everything else that was offered today? Or is it just like, we wanted the boring one out of the way?
Well, my name is Julio, and I used to be an executive director for a gallery in Allentown.
Yeah.
In Lucille Gallery.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had to collaborate all the time
Yeah.
with other nonprofit or arts education organizations, and it really was a lifeline for us. But that's about all I have to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So your gallery, you were not only collaborating with local artists, were you collaborating with, like, if you had, you know, show nights and things like that?
Sometimes.
Yeah?
Yeah, or we would have independent contractors who were like DJs
Right.
or whatever come and help
Yeah.
make it a memorable experience.
Absolutely, and I think that's, you know, kind of the whole aspect of what I just talked about is, if you can go somewhere and have a memorable experience, you're gonna go back. You're gonna say, hey, this was great, and you're gonna remember the businesses that are involved. So by collaborating with a local business, whether it's Doodlebugs, an art gallery, whatever it may be, to say, hey, we had this great event this weekend that we went to, Doodlebugs put it on, and they had a Taekwondo instructor, or we went to the gallery, and the DJ and the bartender that they had there were great. They made amazing drinks. The music was great. The art was amazing. The photography was perfect. Things of that nature. They're gonna remember, oh, who's that DJ? And then 6 months later, they're gonna be like, we need to book a DJ for something. Well, who was that DJ that we had at this? That's the creation. So it's not thinking to yourself, hey, we need to go out and rewrite everything every time we do an event. I'm assuming with Doodlebugs, you guys don't get a new Taekwondo artist every time you have to do a Taekwondo class. If you have a good relationship with them, you're not only going to keep going back to that same well, but you're building each other up there a little bit. So it's saying we have an esteemed, established Taekwondo instructor. We have an amazing DJ. We work with them every single time. For me, I have the same photographer for every event. We've not only become really good friends, now he just doesn't even let me pay him. He's just like, no, I'm here, I'm your friend, I'm gonna take some photos, we're gonna have a good time, let's have some fun. And that's the whole thing of building relationships. So him doing those photos for free comes back tenfold, because I say, yeah, throw your watermark on the corner of it. Now when people are checking out event photos from every event that we do, and we do a lot of events, too many events for my mental health some days, but we do a lot of events, and somebody could see those photos and go, oh my God, the photo of this food is amazing. Now if that's a business owner or a restaurant owner, they say, hey, Paul, can you come take photos for our new menu? Because we had this discussion yesterday. Business owners, if they're using AI for their food menu, sometimes they're using it for the photos too. And if anybody's ever used AI to edit a photo or to make a photo, especially of food, it does not look good. And you can tell that it's AI. So by hiring, a professional photographer to come out and take photos of your food, not only are you building up your own brand by saying, oh my God, look how great this burger looks, or look how great, this salad looks. Now you're supporting a local business as well and building up his brand. So again, it's that same kind of thing of a rising tide raises all ships. If we stop trying to do it all by ourselves and say, I'm going to trust within the community. Like I'm not going to teach Taekwondo. I don't know if either of you know Taekwondo at this point yet to teach. Ask AI to teach you how to teach Taekwondo. But at the same point, if you trusted the people around you and the resources that you can find, like I might not know a good Taekwondo instructor, but if you guys ever want to do an ice cream party at Doodlebugs, I can get you an ice cream vendor to come in and bring ice cream for all the kids. Like things like that. If you trust in the people around you rather than thinking, oh, well, we can do this ourselves, or we'll ask AI or things of that nature, it just benefits both parties, and then everybody kind of elevates and goes from there. You build those relationships, and then when things come up in the future, you're not sitting here thinking, well, I don't know what we're gonna do. Better take a photo, edit it up with AI, and throw it on the menu. Instead of, the obvious, just call this guy, he'll come take photos.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
how do you
Thank goodness, a question. I don't know how much I can rant and ramble.
So it's interesting. So you're basically like going into a local business and saying, hi, I'm here to help.
Yep.
What are your needs, or how can I help you, or what are the challenges? And I mean, there's so many I feel like kind of different little business districts.
Yeah.
Many of them are just so overlooked.
Yeah.
They're not cute. They're not fun. They don't have that cute little coffee shop, that
Yeah.
like an anchor restaurant, or something that makes it a community. They're just
For
kind
sure.
of blighted and forgotten feeling.
Yeah.
At least kind of, I don't know. It's that's a critique I have. It's
Yeah.
you kind of feel sad. They've had a heyday, or glory days
The
20, 30 years ago.
really, really great in the 70s.
Right, but now they're
hasn't been updated since.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's not even just the business. It's the street, the streetscape.
Right.
Anyway, but I don't know. What are those conversations like with businesses? What are they looking for? What are they
Absolutely.
complain about, or what do they really need?
And I'll throw in another whole aspect of that. Another whole hurdle is personal taste. Some people don't go to Allen because they don't like how Allen looks. They'll go to Main Street in Williamsville because it's very polished. It's very nice.
Right.
But Allen to them, I remember in college, you know, if somebody was like, hey, we're gonna go to Allen tonight, we're gonna get some food, we'll get some drinks, R.I.P. the Pink. A couple of my friends would be like, yeah, no, we're good, we're not going. But those same people would go out and go to Main Street Williamsville or Clarence or, you know, one of these a little bit more polished Main Street kind of scapes that you're kind of referring to. So when I go into these businesses, you know, a lot of it is a little bit of like a cold call. You know, if I'm out and about, I'll stop in and I'll say, hey, you know, love the coffee you guys have here. Would love to, you know, bring some more people in for you. By the way, everything that I do with Yelp is free. Yelp does not charge local businesses to do any type of event or anything like that. All the social media is free. Doodlebugs, you want a promo? We'll work with that out. So everything we do is free. So we're coming from a place of caring and a place of, we just want businesses to succeed, especially now with how everything is. So when we go in there, we're saying, would love to get more people in the door for you. You know, what challenges are you facing right now? How can we help with that? You know, with Yelp, there's a couple of ways we go about it. It's social media, obviously, is the easiest one. Come in, record, put a nice little promo video together, say, hey, can't wait to, you know, see you guys. You know, we're gonna have meet the owner reel type of thing, where people actually get to hear from the owner and say, hey, this is why I love this business, this is why you should come support. The other two ways are a little bit more in depth for me, a little bit more in depth for the business. So we'll do a promotional for product, kind of a little bit of a trade there. So we'll say, hey, I'm gonna bring in 40, 50 people, depending on the size of the place, and we're gonna have an event. Hour and a half, one time. All I need you to do is be here and have some samples, have whatever you wanna do to showcase the best parts of your business. And I'm gonna give that opportunity to the owner to address the audience and say, hey, this is why I love the business. So it's that reel that we're doing on social media in real time, because when you hear it from somebody face to face rather than scrolling through your phone and then you go 5 seconds after it starts, you're not getting the message. But if somebody's talking to you like this, and I have 9 people staring at me right now, you kind of feel the message a little bit more than just doom scrolling on your phone. So they get to get up, address the audience. The audience gets to try all the samples. They get to kind of experience the restaurant. Usually it's a time where it's not busy for the restaurant, so it's kind of like, hey, this is an exclusive event for us. We get to come in, like there's nobody else in here. We get to try some samples. My photographer comes in, takes photos, and then all of the reviews and all of the photos go straight to that business owner to say, use these for testimonials on your website. Use the photos on your social media. Because again, they're professional photos. So if you're throwing them on your social media, again, it's helping Paul out because it's getting his watermark out there, but it's also helping them out because it's, hey, maybe we needed a professional photographer to come in and grab stuff for us. The other way is a nice little drop-in event. So we say, hey, your coffee shop's way too small. We can't fit 30 people in here. But what we can do is we can have 50 people come in over the course of the next week. And we could say, hey, when they come in, you're gonna have their name on a list, and you can go and you can say, hey, I'm on the list for the Yelp pickup, drop off, whatever it is. And you know, they get their sample that way. So maybe it's like a coffee and a bagel or something like that from a coffee shop, or a sandwich and a drink. We've done it before where we've done like, hey, here's a small pizza, like, thanks for coming in. And you go in, and then not only are they coming in for their special, but most of the time if you're going to a restaurant to grab food or grab a pickup, you're bringing somebody with you, so they're gonna need something to eat. So then it's also bringing in more business that way. So now we're hitting it with 2 people instead of just that one guest. And again, same thing, I'm getting all the photos from all those people who came in for that drop off, sending them right to the business owner and saying, what can you do with all these? Well, you can throw them on social media, you can do this, that, and the other thing. Same thing with the reviews, testimonials, whatever have you be. But it's just a nice way for them to see new faces in the community that maybe haven't been to this business before. So it's connecting people with, we've done one with La Verdad Cafe where it was a nice opportunity where if you didn't go into Lovejoy is a great example of one of those neighborhoods that maybe people don't go into a lot. Unless you're in that proximity and you live there, you might not even have ever heard of La Verdad Cafe. But you go in there, you try this barbecue and you think, oh my God, how could I not come back to this spot? And now we've got events and things like that that are happening all over the place because you go into that neighborhood one time, you experience it, and then you see a business down the street and you go, well, that looks cool. Maybe we'll come back to that. Or maybe we'll go over here after this is done. So it's a little bit of bringing the people into the area and saying, like, you may not think that this looks good on the outside, but we can't judge the book by the cover, especially once we dive in and we think, this is delicious. I need to come back here. I need to check that place out. That looks really cute down. Sometimes that exterior is kind of like the off-putting thing until you actually explore it. So I hope that answered your question. Okay.
Because, another question.
Yeah.
Does Yelp have like a community person like you, like in every city or every, like local metropolitan area, like doing this kind of work?
So we have a person in most big cities. We have a person in a lot of like the smaller cities too. That's either full-time or part-time, depending on how big the city is. Like there's a person in Rochester, there's a person in Syracuse, and then obviously the big ones, New York City's, Miami's, LA's, things like that. But it's all kind of we're one-person teams for the most part. We get interns here and there, but we're the ones that are going out and meeting business owners. We're talking to them and saying, we just want to help. Like I'm not here to make money off of a small business. If anything, I'm gonna do my best to give them as much money from business coming in. So yeah. Any other big questions or any other topics anybody would like to talk about as far as collaboration, marketing?
Are there any table stakes things that you like when you're starting to work with some of these companies where you're like, hey, this is kind of like a no-brainer thing that most of these organizations should be doing that they're generally not doing or overlooking?
Yeah, I think new companies starting out, social media is huge. I think if you're not utilizing social media at this particular time, it is one of those things that is driving a lot of business in. But at the same point, it's using it well. If you're posting AI flyers that are kind of being posted on a lot of different business pages, people are going to kind of notice that and think, okay, well, they're kind of just putting a couple sentences in, getting a flyer, posting that, don't really know. But if you're doing original content or if you're doing trending content on social media, that's what is kind of getting people in. There's a bunch of random trends that are going out on TikTok and Instagram that really kind of draw people in and like are humorous, that really kind of like nail home the point of, I gotta go check this place out, rather than static kind of posts. Now, there's nothing wrong with static posts, but it has to be something that's remarkable and rememberable, rather than here's a picture of a burger with nothing else happening. It better be the best looking burger you've ever seen. Another thing that I think businesses really need to do, especially when they're starting out, especially when I go in and I talk to them, it's sometimes the outsourcing of that. Sometimes the outsourcing of, hey, we need somebody to manage our social media, is costing them so much more money than if they took the couple of hours out of like their schedule. And I know business owners are very busy, but to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on social media that might not be moving the needle for you, especially when there are other like free services or free things that you can do to kind of like get you over that hump. That's when they say, well, we can't really afford to do our own social media, but you can't really afford to pay somebody else to do it either. So it's making the time for the important things like that. And then it's also networking within the community. If you're opening up a brand new restaurant or a food truck or things like that, and you're similar to something else, or you can match up with something else. So let's say there's we'll take doodlebugs again, because I feel like this is kind of a broad topic, but let's say there's a mobile playground and a big box truck and things like that. It like unfolds and kids can like do the mobile playground, and there's like carnival games and things like that. There's one that I know of for sure that does this, but let's say that is kind of the thing. It would be so much more beneficial to them if they reached out to businesses like Doodlebugs or other businesses that are child-centric and focus on children rather than just kind of seeing what they can do on their own. There was a truck I knew that had a golf simulator on it. The time that I saw it, it was in a parking lot, and I was like, okay, this is an odd place to just have a golf simulator. Like, it was outside of a grocery store. Doesn't make sense to me. But that golf simulator, you put it outside of a brewery, and now you're connecting those two communities, because maybe some of these people inside this brewery play golf. Maybe some of these people inside this brewery have had a few drinks and think they can play golf. And maybe it's probably a liability for them to park out here, but at the same point, you're connecting it to people that actually would do your business. And that's, I think, a lot of business owners get into kind of this headspace and tunnel vision of, I need to focus on this, this, and this, and they kind of don't think about the connection that they could do outside of the community, or outside of their own tunnel vision and things like that.
I'm working with a salon training company.
Yeah.
And we're developing an idea where we have training events for her in these farm and barn venues.
Yeah.
Very small, intimate. But to a farm and barn venue, that's who you want your eyeballs in, to learn how to do whatever in hair.
Absolutely.
Because they go back to their salon and tell every one of their customers and everyone else,
Right.
this place is amazing.
Yeah.
You should have your wedding here or there.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
And then these farm and barn venues, more than likely, when people are having their wedding days,
Mm-hmm.
they're looking for people to do their hair. The farm and barn venues say, hey, this is who we've worked with in the past.
Right.
Now you've got these, hairdressers who can come in and say, hey, yeah, we actually can set up shop here, no problem. Get you all fixed up on your wedding day. Now you're not traveling from salon to the barn. Now you can just come right in. You're wearing the bridal suite. We've got everything all set and ready for you, and it's easy like that. So it's, again, that nice little
Never thought of that.
that nice little partnership. Yeah, absolutely. That nice little partnership of saying, don't worry about finding your own hairdresser for the week if they're going to charge you this much money. Hey, we're going to build it into your package here, and we're going to provide you with 3 hairdressers in the bridal suite who are going to take care of you guys, do whatever you need to do, and then you guys can just hang out in the bridal suite the whole time, and there's no transportation, nobody's hair is going to get messed up on the drive or anything like that.
Right.
So that's a really great example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is it to go to approach a small business owner?
Terrifying.
Do you get a lot of pushback? Well, I'm on Google, I don't need Yelp.
9 times out of 20, about 50%, I would say, is people will either take the card and go, oh, cool, great, yeah, absolutely, we'll get in touch with you, and then I never hear from them again. Half the time it's that, and the other half of the time is, oh my God, this is so great, let's talk, let's get something on the books. 50-50 split, but I feel like if I'm reaching out on Instagram or if I'm sending emails, it's a lot easier to ignore that. If I'm in the coffee shop and I walk up and I'm saying, this is amazing coffee, this is like the best cup of coffee, I don't drink coffee. But going up and saying, I love whatever product this is. You guys have a great little atmosphere here. How long you've been open? Kind of chatting them up a little bit. Here's my card. Would love to get in touch with you to do something. A few of those times it's, hey, this is great. Love this. Let's get something on the books. Let's go from there. But again, it's also that terrifying thing of how much is this going to cost me? This is the business owner thinking, this is a great service, but there's other companies in Buffalo who are charging this amount just to put a social media post up. I'm saying, no, I'm not charging you anything. I want you to get some snacks, some bites, some samples. We're going to bring some people in. We're going to help, with your food costs and things like that, but we want to get people into the door for you.
So how does Yelp make money?
That's a great question. Don't know specifically how that happens because, that's way up here for those folks, but I would assume it's advertising on the website and things like that. I'm not going to try to make a bunch of guesses, but most of the time I think it's advertising. So, Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah.
You can put a paid ad or promote that on Yelp
Absolutely. So
for a fee.
for a fee, yeah, you can go and you can do ads and things like that that put you at the top of the list when people search.
But it's very similar to Google.
But it's very similar to Google, exactly. And that's kind of the juxtaposition there of, I think if you're worried about the community itself, you could say, hey, instead of doing ads, we're going to host an event. And we're going to get people in the community to kind of rally around us rather than promote online.
I feel like one of the barriers to attending events is even finding out about them.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause it used to be like, you could go to your Facebook events area and everyone
Right.
did that, like, you know, not long ago, and then COVID hit, and then everyone, you know,
Right.
kind of got out of the loop, you know.
Yeah.
So what are, like, I don't know, what are common ways you're helping to, other than word of mouth, or maybe you have a network?
Yeah.
How do you get people to, you know, how do you reach them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the big hurdle for a lot of businesses is just getting the word out about things,
Right.
especially with algorithms and things like that of what goes on to feeds and what doesn't. I'll just give you like kind of like my experience is, you know, obviously using Instagram, social media, TikTok, things like that to get the word out. But with Yelp, we also have community calendars. So anybody with a Yelp account can go on, put their event on the community calendar, and then it can actually gauge interest too. So you could have it set up to say, hey, this sounds cool, or hey, I'm in. And then you can kind of get a gauge on your RSVPs that way. And then the other aspect of that is there's not only the community calendar, there's a calendar that we call the Yelp Elite calendar, which are people who use Yelp like daily. And when we put our events up on that, when we're working with small businesses, they're kind of seeing it first before everybody else. And they're saying, okay, cool, this is one I definitely want to go to. And they're RSVPing for that too. So it's kind of building it in that aspect, and then we're linking everything between that Yelp calendar to our social media. So if you see a post on social media and you're like, I would love to sign up for this right now, instead of having to go through the juxtaposition of opening the Yelp app, clipping on like 3 things to get into the calendar, you can just go straight into the link in bio and social media, go straight over to the sign up sheet for that and click I'm coming, and there you go. So I think that's a big thing is like getting the word out. But I think there's so many different calendars that you can look at in Buffalo now that it's overwhelming. Whether it's a Chamber of Commerce or a town calendar or things like that. So sometimes you could post everywhere and hope for the best, or you can promote in like a couple of places and then really kind of hammer home those 2 or 3. It's almost like quality over quantity.
Do you ever work with small businesses in the community that already have a relationship that could be stronger?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's always a big thing. I have a lot of businesses that I'll work with like annually or quarterly to just kind of like really push home that point of like, hey, you know, we're doing well, but we could be doing better, or we want to partner up with this nonprofit. So cool, let's do an event series. We're going to do one in September. We're partnering with Punt Pediatric, and we're going to have a big family event. It's going to have like 20 artisan vendors and sips and bites and all that fun stuff. And then we're going to have a couple of like smaller events that also benefit Punt, but it's going to involve different businesses. So that way everybody can kind of like benefit, but then also everybody can get involved and it's for a good cause. So it's funny that when you work with NPOs and things like that, you get more businesses that kind of want to reach out and work with you just because it's a good cause and things like that, rather than just, hey, daily business, I want this amount of people to come in.